Okay, camera's running. I'm just demonstrating how to upgrade your BIOS in the Tomahawk B550 motherboard. Of course, you start your computer, hit the delete button until you get into this setting in your BIOS in your Tomahawk motherboard. Before you all do this, you have to of course download the new BIOS from their MSI website. I will put a link on that. The BIOS changes once in a while, so I can't tell what it is right now. I think the last one is from May. This motherboard is new. It's from BIOS is from, you can see it up there, BIOS date 16th of December 2021. We have now July 2022, and I think the BIOS is from May 2022, what I have right now. That's the newest one. It's very simple actually. You go to M-Flash down here. The system will auto reboot and enter flash mode. You want to enter flash mode, you say yes. What's very important is once you have the BIOS on a flash drive, you put it in the back of the USB that is dedicated for this M-Flash, which is actually red instead of blue, and you can look it up in your manual that you get from your motherboard. See, it's entering flash mode. And because I put it in the right spot, it shows generic flash disk, and down here it shows the BIOS. It's .AA0, the E7C9 1AMS.AA0, that's the newest one. I click on that with the mouse. Are you sure to select this file? I say yes. And the BIOS will be updating, which will take about a minute or two, I think about 2 minutes. I let it all run unedited, so you see how it's running in real time. If the video takes longer than, I think, 14 minutes, I will reach the 4 GB maximum of the video, so I have to make a second video that continues after the recording shuts off because of the 4 GB limit. It's an older camera, it's only, I think, capable of HD and maybe just 30 frames per second, but for this it's good enough. It's actually, you can see down here, it's from the 26th of May 2022, the last BIOS update that I found. And it's updating from the VA80 to the V8A0. Sounds almost the same. 80A0. Coincidence? And you don't even have to have a hard drive installed. I have a hard drive installed SSD that runs with Linux Mint, my favorite operating system. As a side note. As I said, it will take a while, and we let it run. Get me something to drink in the meantime. Yeah, many videos don't show the following. After the BIOS is updated, what happens often is that it doesn't boot perfectly the first time, and after the second time booting, so it boots the second time, or you have to do it manually, but give it some time. You will have to do some changes on your BIOS because, you know, it's basically writing everything new, so it's starting with the default settings, and those are not optimal 99% of the time. Oh, by the way, if now the power goes out, I'm screwed. But you have to take that chance, except when you have a UPS. That takes over if the power goes out. Most of the time it doesn't start again because, or not right away, because the memory is readjusted to the lowest settings, to a safe setting, 2133 megahertz. This is a Ryzen 5 5600X, and the memory is a 3200 DDR4. So after that you have to adjust the memory, that's the main task. And I will make another video about settings that I use for this particular motherboard without overclocking and all that stuff. So it runs stable, at least for me. Ah, look at that. I think that's the problem with the TV and the video card, that it sometimes blinks a little bit, no big deal. So it will restart itself. As I said, the first time it's possible it doesn't start perfectly. Just don't do anything, let it do its job for now. It should go back into the BIOS, or maybe even start into the operating system, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. Oh no, it actually starts the operating system. You can let it do that. It's reassuring that everything works. Ah, there we go. We don't need to do that right now, so we go quit and restart. And I go into the BIOS because it's not optimal right now. At least I want to have the memory back to 3200 megahertz, so I press the delete button while it's booting up. And press, and there we go. So we go down to memory. This is all good. You can see new BIOS is up there, 26th of May 2022, BIOS version E7C91AMS.AA0. Go to memory and you see it's at 2300. I go to advance, here on top it says advance F7. And you have to go to overclocking. For some reason it says, you know, you're overclocking the memory, even you don't. DRAM frequency is on auto, and you just can click on the DRAM frequency and you choose whatever memory speed you have. You can leave everything else on auto, at least in this case. Most of the time I think you can leave it like that. You can leave everything on auto. Oh yeah, the DRAM voltage will change too, from 1.9 volts, 1.19 volts to 1.35. With escape you can go back and click on OC again. DRAM voltage is correct. See, I changed it. So I'll just do this change. Then you click on the X on the top right, save configuration, exit, and it shows you what change you did. From auto to DR4300, say yes. And I think that's where it happened, that you have to let it reboot twice. But I'm not 100% sure. So it's possible that the first attempt will fail because it's still at 1.2 volts. And the second boot, if it would have to reboot, it would change it to 1.35. But I can be wrong in that moment. This time it seems to do it right away. This is unknown chip XID641. That's because of the 2.5 gigabit. Yeah, that's all there is to it. BIOS is updated, and the next video I will show, you know, the BIOS itself and how to configure it like for a safe, stable environment.